The Evolving Symphony, from conductor to co-creator in divine flow. In this time of illumination, we are being invited to shed the outdated vessels that we have been held in, that we have now outgrown. Those pots are now cracking under the pressure as our roots desire to touch the earth once more. And so this pressure, which is our soul's desire to grow, is not thoughtless destruction, but rebirth. I am aware that there are times where I have received guidance from friends, therapists, guides, which to them may feel more risky or maybe too much, not so safe, has in fact been just what I needed. And so we have this beautiful dance. There is no rigid, symmetrical way. It's not just 1 + 1 = 2. The box syndrome. Just as there are no straight lines in nature, if you look at a straight line or a surface which is flat, yes, we can measure it in numbers. But if we look more deeply below the surface, beneath the skin of things, we find the organic, and within that infinite worlds, and within that more and more space. It is like what I shared a little while back, being given a telescope or binoculars and told, now keep walking. Look how much more you can see. You will soon find it's nigh impossible to walk. We will trip up, not able to see what is in front of us. So that's, I suggest, what we are balancing now, the microcosm with the macrocosm. We are both. We are infinite specks of tiny light. The last few days I've been clearing energies that are very dense. These energies have come in my dreaming state. And I don't usually have, I can't actually remember having dreams like this before. And I need to be clear straight away. This is not an invitation to share details of your density attachments, nor, sorry to say this, but ask me how to clear them. I have a specific focus in this share. It's bringing in a different perspective. For density is all about the drama and attachment. And it's very easily to be sucked into that drama. It's happening all around us, on the radio, on the internet, on the TV, and we can very easily feel, oh, I wouldn't mind watching that old film, that series, that drama, and then wonder why our minds are full up with this density, this imagery, this frequency, this noise, vibration. If you are a light worker, healer, guide, or just a sensitive human being, like me, you probably have experienced or are experiencing density arising yet again, just when we thought we'd cleared all this from ourselves. And this is not a failure. We've not done anything wrong. We're not going backwards. We are being fine-tuned. And our soul knows this. But that part of us which is being shown the way does not necessarily know this. And that part may be our inner child or our wounded mind or ego. It may be our very DNA in our body, ancestral history. Some call that karma. It might even be pre-verbal. When we might have been able to move through certain energies, spaces, environments, communications, experiences, we probably are finding this is no longer possible. And the inflated spiritual ego can be really triggered with this, because some of us, and I include myself in this, that's why I'm highlighting this and I know what I'm talking about, is that we can feel better than others. Oh, I'm able to rise above all this density. Oh, I can clear this density for other people. I've got it sorted. And yet another layer is shifting. And this is enabling us to raise our vibration, yes, and bring in a wider, broader perspective. It's bringing in also humility. And so we're shifting into a lighter resonance. This means energies which we once might have enjoyed or just tolerated, we no longer can include in our own nearby energy environment frequency. And so we're noticing the habits which ran on automatic that allowed us ways to navigate through the world are no longer viable. And so we can feel torn. We can maybe feel isolated. We may have people, family, friends, work colleagues who are wondering what on earth is going on with us. They think that because we're saying no, we're rejecting them. And then we may feel more alone. And that's the unfortunate part of this evolution, this in-between space. More and more people will be experiencing this. And I suggest that if you share what is occurring, like I'm sharing here, that then enables others to go, oh yeah, I'm having the same experience. And then we realize we're not alone. And so because we're in this in-between place, we're being invited to be still, be in silence, pause, take a breath, be in nature, allow our mind, body, spirit to come into realignment. The different frequencies which our different aspect selves are resonating are being fine-tuned to sing a different song. We're literally, energetically, physically, spiritually, psychologically, and with the mind and heart coming into harmonic alignment. So as we evolve and expand, there can be as if there is a discordance. Different parts of ourselves are playing different tunes. And so with so much fear being ramped up by the old system programming matrix, there is also an invitation to be loving and be in compassionate, non-attached awareness to this fear vibration. And so this time of illumination will be revealing any strands, any lost places, any lost soul parts, hidden, shamed, rejected, in a denser fear vibration. It's all being illuminated so we can embrace those parts of ourselves. And all this is in divine timing. And we're now putting into practice what we have learned. We're always learning. As we face yet another layer of attachment trauma programming, it does not matter whether we label it personal or collective. Because really, what difference does it matter? What difference does it make? It's about the energy, the emotion, the feeling, the experience. Now, depending on where we are on our journey of evolution, spiritual transformation. All this is changing rapidly now. When for so many of us it was about accessing the Akashic records to reclaim who we are, remembering who we are. This meant reading those records and reliving those lifetimes. However, many now are shifting into the knowing awareness, where we know we can access these books, but we have no need for this because we have listened to those wounded aspects, those parts. They've been heard, they've had a voice. Because everything is in this now moment, is accessible in the now, because our soul is the continuum. And so here we are, we're gifting ourselves a key to decipher all those ancient texts. And we have so longed to pick up those books. And for so long we feared that if we did, they would turn to dust. Then we realize all of this is within each of us. It's not outside of us. And those books become metaphors in the grand creative source, exploring, mirroring infinitely in beautiful fractals of light in life. And metaphor is not less than, is not fake. Metaphor is a magical, profound growing creation with layers of meaning. It is art. Metaphor is this life which some call hologram, full of beauty in lightness and dark. And this is what many of us are also shifting into, letting go of the attachment to the idea of the books, objects which show how we matter. But everything is a stage, an expression of our development, an exploration. I'm sharing this not as a criticism, nor am I suggesting it is a linear trajectory. No. We move and weave and go back and down and round this spiral. More of us are no longer striving and efforting. And we find deep light source, fountain of creation bubbling up from within our heart space. This is a different way of being, and being with our desire for growth and fulfillment. That experience, feeling, and then knowing, anchoring in, embodying that we have a purpose here, that we matter. And as we grow more into this different way of being, we become lost for words because the language which we previously used has had a history and holds certain ideas, meanings, and energetics. And so we are learning to read between the words, to listen to the ones hidden, because we are being in the space between. We are vast beings of many aspects and selves. We are used to limiting ourselves in order to be in resonance in the 3D system and frequency. Imagine this. You are the conductor and the whole orchestra, and so you fine-tune your instruments. Maybe you've spent eons learning how to play those instruments. Maybe even you've actually crafted and made and shaped those instruments yourselves. You might have studied at college, university, learned from masters. And so you allow all these aspects of yourselves to be free. They have their lives outside of the orchestra now. And yet they still come together to play beautiful music. And the conductor has been gifted a script, a symphony, which she led the orchestra to play. But what if the conductor now also wishes to compose the music as well? Will those different parts of the orchestra enjoy, be in agreement, be able to follow the new script? And I mean, what if those aspects now want to live their own lives, to come and go? What will happen to the orchestra then? We've been used to the orchestra having certain players with certain instruments playing, pre-scripted, composed music. But now all of that, I suggest, is being changed. And such is life and the enfolding creation. It sort of reminded me of something there as I end this share. How it always goes straight to my heart when I hear people say, I can't sing, or I can't dance, or I don't know how to play a musical instrument, or I'm tone deaf. I really do not believe that. I can get that people are not in tune, but it is our soul vibration to be in sound. Everything is sound. Everything moves. Everything makes a sound. We have a soul note vibration. I mean, every element makes sound. So if someone is not in resonance with that, or they feel they're tone deaf, there is something that is in discordance. And again, this is no criticism, it's just my observation. It's the same with movement and dance. I mean, for years I used to teach light language sounding and shamanic drumming. And what I found was the best way, especially also when I taught psychic development, was to be in play, playfulness, silliness. When we put so much focus and preciousness and effort, and with all that criticism and judgment, it pulls us back into that fear frequency, and we constrain and constrict ourselves. We limit ourselves. We compare ourselves. And yet each of us has a unique voice. I have a unique voice. And so the way we can bypass all the eons and layers, and it's totally impacted down through school and education, is to be in, I don't know how else to describe it, silliness, playfulness, to be that sacred fool. That's what children do. They want to explore. They're not, hopefully, comparing themselves to an idea of what should be a result, a conclusion, a certain piece of art. They're not performing. There isn't that separation. They're in the now moment of enjoying. And so often I've taught people to it's more being, with the rhythm of the drum and the sounding in their voice, without saying you got to learn how to do any techniques, any know how to read music, how to hold the drum, or hold the stick, or know how to count the rhythms. None of that. None of that. And as soon as people are able, given permission to just explore, amazing, amazing things occur. So I'm going to end my share there. Thank you for listening. And as always, sending all of us lots and lots of love.